Oh, okay.
She's really good.
Talk about it. Okay, I'm here to talk about undergraduate journals, which, based on the forecast theme, is neither about print nor about books. So I'm doing a really good job keeping to the theme. And the things that we do at the university libraries, and actually we aren't doing anything with undergraduate journals yet. It's something that we could do, and I want to try to talk to you about what I think are potentials there. What we do is have Iowa Research Online, which is a repository for scholarship at the institution, and so any of the scholarship that you produce could be put into there. This could be technical reports or scholarly articles. And as part of this, we also specifically have some journals that we publish. And since this is kind of a broader category than the undergraduate journals, I want to tell you some about those. When we work with journals, they can be existing journals that migrate into the system, or they can be new titles. Poroy migrated in. Mattel was a new journal. Each journal in the software has a distinctive design, and I'll be showing a few of those in the next few screens. Editors retain all editorial control over the content, and you may opt to use the review features to manage submissions and the peer review process, and would train editors to do it. So Medieval Feminist Forum is actually a society title. Iowa Journal of Cultural Studies comes out of graduate students in the Department of English. We make sure that all the articles have authors' rights clearly signed so everyone can tell who has a copyright. And it can be a Creative Commons license or a straight copyright statement. We will digitize that content as long as there's permission to post it online and include that as part of the journal, which is what we did with Walt Whitman Quarterly Review. And I will also want to note that all of our titles are open access with the possibility of a moving wall, which is content becomes available after a period of time has crossed. So Walt Whitman Quarterly Review is of that sort. The most recent 4 issues are closed access, and after that it becomes open access. In that case, the journal needs to take care of the subscribers and the money coming in from that. The library doesn't do that. Walt Whitman Quarterly Review is also published in print. The library does not work with the print side of it. Walt Whitman Quarterly Review has to take care of that all on their own. And also in the electronic journals, electronic publishing is more fluid than regular print publishing. The lengths of things can be quite different. We're not bound by paper page length, by what will actually bind together in a usable format. So we can have things that are very short. There can be kind of book-type things that are between an article and a traditional book length, so you don't need to just sort of have extra information in it. And I've read some technical business types of things which seem like they tweak and condensed down. And it can also be an extremely long treatise that would be extremely expensive to publish. They can, of course, include color illustrations without any additional cost because you're not printing it, and you can include supplemental files, data sets, videos as part of it, and we encourage authors to include that. So if you're doing this already, why would you put it in Iowa Research Online and not just on your own journal site? Partly because it's really well connected to the scholarly world. It's well indexed by Google and Google Scholar. The library will work to make sure the journal meets some standards. It's well indexed, has good metadata. The metadata can be shared with indexing like Elsevier and EBSCO. We can help with formatting articles. We don't actually offer that as a service at this point, although we might in the future. The titles would be actually archived at the library, so they would stay long term. It wouldn't just be on your department site, your personal site, which may not really last. And we'll make sure the URLs remain stable so people can cite your articles. But one of the other reasons why you might choose to do it with us is it won't cost you anything. We don't charge you for the open access journals. We consider hosting journals as part of our mission to foster critical inquiry and enable the creation of knowledge. If you want to have subscription controls or have someone do formatting, you may have to pay for that. So there may be money in other parts, but not with what we're doing. And we'll support a broad range of content, not just kind of traditional journals. So if there's other types of things you're interested in publishing, using other types of tools, we'd be interested in working with you. And briefly, how to start. talk to your subject liaison or to my department and have some information at that URL. So now to undergraduate journals. So now I'm going to try to convince you on the merits of having undergraduate journals, but we don't really do them here. And so it's kind of an interesting thing. I'm not only off topic in that I'm not talking about print or books, I'm also not talking about something we currently do.
But you think it should be done?
I personally think it would be a good idea. I think Kelly agrees with me, so there's two of us here in the meeting. Undergraduate journals have been created at a lot of other institutions as a way to showcase student work. And as with anything that we put into IO Research Online, we don't put any student work in without support from faculty members. We don't just take random student items. As faculty saying this is quality work that would go in. And in general, faculty support is critical to an undergraduate journal to make sure it would actually last, it would have quality, it's a diverse range of things coming in. Because undergraduates have this tendency to graduate, so we need to kind of have some stability in it with the faculty members. There are a lot of benefits to the student for this. It provides a good place for them to showcase their work before going to graduate school or entering the job market. And this is where I will mention print. Some places that have them do think making a print version is important because it's a sort of a more solid version of it to really show what it is. Although I think if it's a well-presented PDF, it can be printed out and be the same. Beyond this, publishing journals teaches students about participation in scholarly discourse. Creating the journal forms a new ways to teach the authors about proper citations, practices, and copyright. And with the conversations of plagiarism, this is a good way to have the students think about it in a different way. Because it takes on a new issue when you're thinking about your own work being used by other people and how it might be used. And then you realize what you're doing to other people when you're putting it in the context of yourself. Student editors can also be trained to do the work of the editing and formatting of the articles, giving students outlets for skills that they have and are acquiring in university and means to acquire additional skills. So the journal can offer experiential learning for students in journalism and graphic design. Charles Watkinson, who's the director of the Purdue University Press, said that the act of articulating the work that they've done is a valuable way of clarifying understanding. They found that students who would otherwise hide behind the jargon of their discipline are really forced to explain and clarify their ideas when asked to write for a different audience. That's a good benefit for the student. Another one is continues with just the act of writing about a complex subject improves their research and writing skills. So this is really about how to help the students in their learning in a lot of ways. So the American Association of American Colleges and Universities has some high-impact educational practices, and I think undergraduate research journals can fit well into this, both with writing-intensive courses and undergraduate research. Of course, we do have strong undergraduate research support here on campus through the Iowa Center for Research by Undergraduates. So we're really familiar with that process. We just don't publish the work. And we also have, in the public kind of a way, and we also have writing-intensive courses. But again, that writing is for the class, and so it's a fairly small audience. It's not meant for public consumption. So an undergraduate journal would really provide a means to pair up these two high-impact educational practices into something even stronger. And Stephanie Davis, Howell from Illinois Wesleyan, it's a fairly long quote, and I'll read the whole thing. In other words, publishing can be situated quite well and effectively in the space between the scholarly and the practical. On our campus, more and more we are hearing students want experiences to show that they can apply what they've learned and that they can make an impact beyond the walls of their campus. It should be noted we've been hearing a similar message from potential future employers. Involving students either in highly experiential ways, such as in an undergraduate research journal, or in less intense but equally meaningful way by involving them in specific elements of publishing, like engaging in the peer review process or working on marketing of a journal, is a great way to build key skills for the future. There's also benefits for the department and the institution of having the journal. It can be a really good recruiting tool to persuade the best students to apply to the University of Iowa. A journal can promote undergraduate research to sophomores who want to pull into undergraduate research, and it can also demonstrate the advantages that a research institution has over a purely teaching institution by offering the possibilities of undergraduate research here. And as said by Joe O'Shea from Florida State, it can help to showcase the intellectual caliber of our students. It can help set expectations for our incoming students. It can provide a vehicle for donors or for fundraising. And one of the arguments people have against undergraduate journals is, why should they publish in a second-rate journal and not in a disciplinary journal? So I think the answer to this is in part the pedagogical benefits students receive from active participation in the journal. The journals tend to be written for a more general audience, describing the context of the problem. And Charles Watkinson encourages authors to write for a fellow student but in a different discipline, so kind of an educated lay audience. And if the work is published in a disciplinary journal, the student would be one of many authors. They wouldn't be the primary author. And if the work really could be published in a disciplinary journal, that's great, and by all means pursue that. But realistically, a lot of the work wouldn't get published in it, and this gives them an outlet to publish in a journal and gain all that experience from it. So they're complementary to disciplinary journals, not competitive with, but they kind of fill a different niche in really much more of a teaching and learning sort of way. So I won't kid you, there are a lot of challenges. They do take work, but I think they'd be worth the effort for the students and for the institution. They take time from the faculty, from the students, and from the library to support. Sustainability can be difficult as students graduate and enthusiasm wanes. But other institutions have found that using software like we use, which is Digital Commons, which has the editorial system, it's pretty easy to learn how to use, really helps in keeping it more sustainable so students can easily learn how to move things along and things don't get lost in individual people's emails. It also helps to have senior editors, senior student editors mentor younger students in the process. And also paying students to do the copy editing helps, and actually not just taking their time, but actually paying them for work that needs to be done. Additional challenges include who assists students in the revision process, what level of editing and design should the journal have, and hopefully fairly high levels so that it looks professional and like a real thing when they're using it for graduate school and jobs. What citation style should be used? Because if it covers a lot of disciplines, you want to have it consistent or which one you choose. Who's responsible for permissions clearance, especially for images, because that goes even beyond the plagiarism, because it's so easy to take images that people don't realize how using that, especially in a publication, and how different that is than maybe using the image with references in a paper you're turning into. And if you're going to be doing it in print, how would you pay for the print and how will you distribute it? And an assessment is important. We, through our system, can reduce counts of downloads of articles, but at Purdue, they think the standard metrics of citations and downloads aren't as important for this because it really is about the student learning. And their funding is from their provost is dependent on this. So they have a survey tool for students before and after the article and before and after their time as editors to show what they've learned from that. I'm just going to show you a couple of examples quickly from some other institutions. This is from Purdue, the Journal of Purdue Undergraduate Research. It's published in print and online. Articles are across all disciplines. They invite proposals in the form of a 250-word abstract. And they do this so students don't write an article if it's not going to be accepted. They don't need to go through all that time. And then if the proposal is accepted, then the student writes either a full article, it's kind of 3,000 or 4,000 words, or a research snapshot, which is kind of an extended abstract. Purdue also has a public policy title, and the Dartmouth, while not a journal, is doing a lot with public policy publishing by undergraduates. So they're doing a lot of research and publishing that. So while not a journal, if anyone was interested in really doing this on campus, we would love to host it. So it's kind of an additional, and there's an article in the Chronicle and then on the Dartmouth side about it. Florida State has an institution-wide journal published in print and online. The print issue is campus as a discipline-wide. The fall issue is online only, and it's discipline-specific or class-specific, so you can they have a really focused issue on that. And then most of our peer institutions do have them either general or focused, and we do have one, the Iowa University of Iowa History Journal is here. I think I got the name wrong. Iowa Historical Review. We think it's going to be moving into Iowa Research Online. It currently is PDFs on the History Department's website. And as with any journal, especially if it's a discipline-specific, make sure that such a journal doesn't already exist, because many undergraduate journals exist and take submissions from undergraduates anywhere, especially the discipline-specific ones. So students, there may already be a journal that exists, so you could encourage students to publish in an existing one. And we at the libraries can help you find them. I'm offering Kelly right now. Sure, she'd be happy to help you.
Oh, yeah.
So that's kind of what I had to say. And so if you have questions, please ask. But I believe we started a little late and there's dessert, so I don't want to keep it on dessert. But I welcome comments or discussion about this.
Why do you think it hasn't happened yet at the University of Iowa? Because you were talking about challenges. So
right. I think partly because it is work, and I think the question of why would you publish in a second-rate journal is a very real one on campus. I think, it's like, why wouldn't you publish in a disciplinary journal? And I think people haven't really thought about it from what gains the undergraduate really gets and why it would be worth that effort. And they're thinking about why would this content, should that be added to the scholarly discourse? And it's kind of a different sort of thing, and I think it hasn't been framed. And I think probably Iowa Center for Undergraduate Research is very focused on the research component, which is very important. So they're putting their energy into that and not into this extra piece of writing that must be gained.
Have you had any feedback from faculty here, specific faculty at Iowa, about being involved in it?
I have not. Can you speak to any of this, Kelly?
No, I haven't had any faculty but I know, there are a lot of people in the library, I think, who are into that, especially at other institutions. So.
And from the libraries, one of the things we really see is kind of from that plagiarism side, the citation, the rights, and we see how much students would learn just from that side of it, let alone the communicating, the improved writing. If you really learn a topic better when you're writing it up than when you're just in a more formal way. But we see just how much they would learn about kind of copyright, their own copyright, using other people's things, plagiarism, and how it would really build on some of those things that we have a lot of interest in and have worked with. So that's partly why the library has some additional interest, is just from the benefits that we see the students need. But the libraries can't do this. It takes faculty to do this. It's important, but we
do you guys reach out to faculty or not?
Well, we've done a little bit, and this is partly what I'm doing here. Is sort of a first phase of some reaching out. So we haven't done a lot, but this is trying to do more with that.
Yeah, because some of us are seated, so we work with faculty members, and we see that there are a lot of people that are really interested in innovative ways of making the work that students work so hard on available to other people. And of course, the stakes are higher and everything. And I feel like it's just it's a matter of talking to them about the possibility. I believe a lot of instructors would buy into it, So if you guys are willing, we can take this as kind of like our mission, We can suggest this to faculty members and
it's a whole different thing, but we are working with the Honors Center for making a pilot of having honors theses optionally available. So that would be another pathway that people would be seeing. I think maybe with that might increase some interest in some of the online publication. So there's a little bit of and they actually approached us on that for the honors thesis, whether that would be possible.
I think it's a good place to start.
But so that's kind of what this was, is sort of seeing what some of the interest would be in trying to get the information out there. Kelly really is our undergraduate, one of our undergraduate focused people through the library, so that's why I keep looking to her.
Yeah.
But I work on the publishing side, and I work with a lot of different types of things, including scholarship of all sorts of things. The undergraduate focus is Kelly said, something we'd be working on together.
thank you.